You and I break still stand when the shit get real. Even through all of those things, yeah, you remain. Let them know you still standing here. You go hard on them, don't you ever let up. You keep your foot right on their neck. Nothing with value ever comes cheap. You gon' pay in blood or either respect. You got breath inside of your lungs. Still got a shot, it ain't over yet. The only day they say I was tired, that'll be the day they lay me to rest. Go hard on them. What's up, everybody? Peace, peace, peace to you. Troll killer, what's happening? Hey, Miss Beverly, good morning. Peace to you. Peace to Troll Killer and Miss Beverly. Peace to Troll Killer and peace to Miss Beverly. Go hard on them. What's happening, y'all? How y'all doing this morning? Well, man, yesterday I was really tired, and that's why I didn't do the stream yesterday. I had a long day yesterday, man. Very long day. And no, I didn't find Izzy. Couldn't find Izzy nowhere. I couldn't find Izzy nowhere, Miss Beverly. And I really think our brother Izzy is, you know, you know. I actually been praying for Izzy, man. Yeah, Miss Beverly said, I hope he's okay, and I do too. I hope he's okay and alive, and nothing happened to the brother. But yeah, I've been thinking about Izzy all night. Troll Killer say Izzy gone, man. Damn, he was kind of entertaining sometimes, and Izzy was very entertaining sometimes. Me and the brother with the Alzheimer's, the senile brother, we used to tell Izzy all the time, man, bro, we watch your channel every morning. We probably your biggest supporters as far as views. And I'm serious. I used to check Izzy every morning before I get my day started to just see what kind of madness going on in this brother's mind and in this brother's cipher, man. So yeah, Izzy was very entertaining. And I pray Izzy is all right, man. I've been thinking about Izzy all night. Fam said he was wearing, but he hurt the gay scholar feelings when he talked about his mama. Mm-hmm. And the gay scholar need to be ashamed of himself, fam. That the gay scholar really needs to get help. I mean, it's just really sickening to look at the gay scholar, man, and to think this is a plus 50-year-old man. Tore up in his brain. Tore up, got maggot brain, mind rot. But yeah, he tore the gay he tore the gay scholars, feelings into confetti when he brought up the mama thing. And that's part of the reason why I played it the other night. Because, you know, if that shocked Izzy, you know it had to be some shocking stuff, man. This brother writing about fantasies of making love to his own mother. The gay scholar, the freak scholar, the bisexual scholar. And we got to make sure that we label him properly. We don't want to say he's just straight gay. We want to say bisexual. So we make sure that we're not saying allegedly. That people warned him, don't talk about Izzy mama, for real. Izzy will go crazy on you about his mother, and bless that sister's memory and rest her soul, but Izzy will go crazy on you over that mama thing, man. Facts, Troll Killer.
Lord have mercy. But anyway, y'all, we trying to make sure that we locate Brother Izzy. So anybody with information on the whereabouts of that boy, what happened to that boy Izzy, please help us locate Izzy. We looking for Izzy like Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world is Izzy Sandiego? Where in the world? Y'all remember Carmen Sandiego? Oh man, that's what really made Israel go crazy on me about his mother and all that stuff. Pip King, peace to you. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna start the subject, man. And look, I had to pray for forgiveness for this, man, because that was wrong and I shouldn't have did it. But me and Izzy was going through some craziness back in the day, man. And the brother was doing some wickedness to me. Wickedness. Shalom, indeed. Peace to you, Pip King. So the thing happened, what it was about Israel's mother, I never said anything negative about the sister. I never talked about her. I never did the stuff that, all these other people say about Izzy's mama. But what I did was I took the Carmen Sandiego theme, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Where in the world? Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I put Izzy's mother's picture on that Carmen Sandiego theme. And I know that was wrong, and I apologized to Izzy years ago about that. And I apologized to the public that watched me do that to the brother. But that's what really started this sensitivity over his mother and all of that, man. There's a lot of the people that was around years ago, they saw me do that to him. And they latched on to that because they saw Izzy. That's a chink in Izzy's armor. And as much as Izzy disrespect any and everybody, women, men, and children, that was a sensitive spot, and it still is for Israel, man. So yeah, that's where all of that stuff started from, the sensitivity. So y'all forgive me for injecting the community with that, because I was just extremely angry at Izzy. He had done some crazy shit to me. Excuse my language this morning, but he had done some craziness to me, and that's what happened, man. But y'all, please help us locate Izzy. Where in the world? Where in the world is Izzy San Diego? Y'all excuse me this morning. I had to start the stream like that. But we're really concerned about Izzy, and as much as we war and fight against each other and all these other brothers, I don't think nobody wants to see Israel dead. I don't think anybody wants to see Israel hurt, or I don't think anybody even really want to see Izzy locked up to the extent that he may be or may be going to. But at any rate, y'all help us locate Izzy, okay? When you locate Izzy's whereabouts, please report to this channel so that we can hear and we can report the truth on that. Now, with no further ado, excuse me, let me clear my throat. Let me clear my throat. Now, today, what I'm going to do, instead of doing a 2-hour-long stream, is I'm going to abbreviate this whole series into 3-4 parts, okay? Because this stuff is a lot, man. It's a lot to look up. Like we were talking about migrational patterns the other day, and we were talking about DNA, and we were dealing with Nakat Kanum and Kanum Anko, whatever those guys' names was. We'll find their names again in the lesson that I prepared today. In some right, we'll touch them again. But we were talking about DNA and migrational patterns, and I wanted to say this before I start. One of the brothers came and made an assertion, and I think it's one of the good brother. I'm not sure who his name is, but he said something concerning 1800 BC, that time period, right? And I want to show you something about pseudo scholars that get enamored with too much investment in wrong thinking and wrong teaching and miseducation. That the pseudo scholars will chase their tail and go into history and try to bend history to prove their point. But when you deal with DNA, when you deal with migrations, you can't bend anything. Really, it's not really possible to bend it. When you're dealing with migration patterns, certain particular time periods in DNA, it's not possible to bend certain truths. So I was talking about the 1800 time period, right? Which yielded for us the particular genetic that we were talking about before concerning the two brothers. The two brothers. And this man said, and I quote, that during the time period of the 1800 BC, that in Turkey, there were not M1. Let me make sure that we're calling the right genetic group. Let me go into it. Let me pull it up for you, family, because I got this stuff all saved on like a previous lesson. So I want to be accurate and make sure I'm telling you the same accurate truth that we prepared and laid out the other day. So give me 1 second to pull this up for you. But the brother, okay, here it is. M1a1, all right? And that was concerning Nakat Ankh and Kanum Nakat. Okay, these are the so-called brothers that really are not brothers. The genetics, their skeletons, and the DNA, the mitochondrial DNA, yielded for us the other day the truth that they were half brothers, not real genetic brothers. But these men's DNA yielded M1a1. Okay? That, for all intents and purposes, we'll understand is Turkey. Turkey. Not South Africa, not East Africa, not West Africa, not Central Africa, but Turkey. M1a1. Okay? The mitochondrial DNA haplotype shared between Nakat Ankh and Kanum Nakat. M1a1. Turkey. Okay? Now, the brother says that the people in Turkey during the time period of 1800s, he said they were not what we call today white people. And peace to Sister Jackie. And I said to the brother, I want you not to fool yourself and not to chase your tail. And the reason I said that is because you're a pseudo scholar trying to disprove the fact that many different races have a claim and a rightful claim to North Africa, namely Egypt. So the brother goes into Turkey and said, "No, it's black people ruling Turkey. These are black folk." I said to him, it doesn't matter what the people in Turkey's DNA was during the 1800s. We're proving during 1800 BC in Egypt, Nakat, Kanum, and Kanum, let's say his name right, Nakat Ankh and Kanum Nakat, their genetics belong to M1a1. Now, how many of y'all understood what I just said? It's a very simple idea, but to the pseudo scholar and the people that are not paying attention, that goes right over your head. I said this guy did the classic shuffle, like playing 3-card Monte. I said to him that these two namely notable Egyptian brothers, which turned out to be half brothers, their genetics yields M1a1 during the time period of 1800 BC, during their time. That haplogroup is indicative of Turkey. The brother says the people in Turkey during that time weren't the same haplogroup. I said that doesn't matter because we're not talking about Turkey. We're talking about Egyptians that have Turkish ancestry. That suggests a much bigger picture. What's the bigger picture? That now we have to look into war, we have to look into conquest, we have to look into genetic amalgamation, we have to look into geographical migrations and things that force people to move into different areas of the world. Whatever it was that caused those that are the progenitors of Nakat, Kanum, or Nakat Ankh and Kanum Nakat, whatever forced them to be sprouted in Egypt under that particular genetics is what you need to be studying, not trying to play 3-card Monty and change and smooth the goalpost. I'm going to say it one more time before we start. The pseudo scholar always does that. You're talking about something specific and groundbreaking, and they jump to another subject to try to synchronize that subject with history. But it doesn't work. You can't bend the truth of genetics, DNA. That's true. So if M1a1 shows up in those that are supposed to be historically told to you as African, it don't matter who was ruling the place where their genetics come from. What matters is their genetics come from that place and are not native to Africa. Not native to Africa. Also, I asked him, please provide for me the genetic haplogroup of the ruling class of the 1800s in Turkey. Y'all will get it later. Y'all will get it later. Let's just keep going. Now, although that's crazy and that's heartbreaking to many of y'all, that we found Turkish ancestry in the kings of Egypt, I want to bring you to Reuters. Okay, Reuters articles. Reuters.com. Half of European men share King Tutankhamun's DNA, or King Tut, y'all. Now, I'm going to say this with a great amount of assurity that this is a true fact. And this has been an extreme argument and a sticking point in our community because people just romance Egypt without looking at the truth. I told you several times over that many different races or nationalities have a rightful claim to Africa, North Africa, Egypt. That's the truth. And when you deny that truth, then I have to call you a pseudo scholar, because it lets me know you don't understand the true dynamic of ancient Egypt and its development over the years, being one of the greatest trade centers and trade hubs in the world at that time. So the fact is that Reuters writes this article, and we're going to read it. But I want you all to get right with this idea, because if you don't get right with this idea, this study is going to drive you up the wall. You're going to hate me. You're going to want to kill me. You don't want to put your hands on me. but when you want to do that, make sure you realize that I am not the editor of Reuters. And yes, Miss Beverly, Reuters is very reputable. Very reputable. Miss Beverly said, I would say the information is correct. Facts. let's get into this because it's an interesting article about Tutankhamun or Tutankhamun or King Tut. Half of European men share King Tut's DNA. I'm going to say it one more time. Half of European men share King Tut's DNA. And most specifically, when we're talking about European in this sense, is speaking about Western Europeans. Western Europeans. The article says up to 70% of British men and half of all Western European men are related to the Egyptian pharaoh Tutankhamun. Geneticists in Switzerland said. Scientists in Zurich-based DNA Genealogy Center, IGENEA, reconstructed the DNA profile of the boy Pharaoh, who ascended to the throne at an age of 9. His father Akhenaten and his grandfather Amenhotep III, based on a film that was made for the Discovery Channel. This is speaking about a film, and that's the controversial film. Y'all need to see that because this is what got all of the pseudo scholars that try to ultra black eyes Egypt and all of the ruling class, the governors, the queens, the kings, everybody. These guys went crazy when they brought this stuff out. And let me also interject a few more facts. It says Akhenaten, the grandfather of King Tut. Oh, no. His father, Akhenaten, and grandfather, Amenhotep III. Now, let me say something about Amenhotep II. I showed a picture a few weeks ago of Amenhotep II under a cow, sucking a cow's udder. Y'all know what a cow udder is? It's the thing you milk. Amenhotep II, was it Amenhotep II? I think it was Amenhotep II. Under a cow with his knees covered with steel pads. He got steel knee pads on. Sucking on a cow's udder, drinking it straight from the cow. Now, I don't know if that's a Western European tradition or whether that's an African tradition, but whatever the tradition is, I want to say it's incredibly animalistic. And that to be drawn and propagated as if that's righteous, that's pretty sick. And I also want to point out that our brother from the Nation of Islam, Wesley Muhammad, Wesley said that's the best way to enjoy milk. Lord have mercy. Wesley said pure cow's milk. You get on your knees under the cow like Amenhotep II, I think, and toot your mouth up and pull and suck on the cow udders. Suck it straight from the cow. Non-pasteurized, dirty nipple. Y'all listen to me. There should be some questions in y'all mind when y'all see this kind of stuff and you see writings about, all of this sickness that I've been pointing out. You should be wondering, why would the African mind historically be this sick? And when you do the thought, it should lead you into this type of researching that would uncover what these people really were, who they are, why they thought like this, why were they so sexually perverted, and why were they so mixed up in their genetics and their mind. Okay? Now, again, the reason that we brought up Amenhotep, I think, II, sucking on a cow udder, is because we mentioned him in this DNA study, his grandfather, the grandfather of Tutankhamun, or Tutankhamun, Amenhotep III. Okay, we're talking about the second Amenhotep now sucking the cow udder, but now Amenhotep III in the line of Akhenaten and King Tutankhamun. Now, back to the article, okay? It says the results showed that King Tut belonged to a genetic profile group known as, listen, haplogroup R1b1a2. Say it again. The results showed that King Tut belonged to a genetic profile group known as haplogroup R1b1a2, to which more than 50% of all men in Western Europe belong, indicating that they share a common ancestor. Yeah, that's what he was talking about, Miss Beverly. He's talking about drinking cow milk straight out the cow, fam. He don't want you to let it go through pasteurization. He don't want them to treat it with anything. He don't want steroids or antibiotics in it. He don't want a label on his milk. He don't want a plastic bottle on it. The brother said raw cow milk is the meal of the black gods. And I'm telling you, if we're dealing with R1b1a2 haplogroups in the lineage of the Amenhoteps and Akhenaten and King Tut, then we ought to understand why we saw Amenhotep II sucking a cow udder. These ain't all African people. These people come from a place where that's okay. They come from a place where it's all right to suck a cow udder. Lord have mercy. But R1b1a2, Western Europe, over half of all European men share this commonality with one of the greatest and most notable royal lineages, family. R1b1a2. Let's deal with a little bit more of the article. It says, among modern-day Egyptians, this haplogroups contingent is below 1% according to IGENEA. It says, it is very interesting to discover that he belonged to the genetic group in Europe. There were many possible groups in Egypt that the DNA could have belonged to, which actually in this study makes the pervasive nature of this haplogroup exponentially spread. That's the truth. Around 70% of Spanish and 60% of French men also belonging to the genetic group of the Pharaoh who ruled Egypt more than 3,000 years ago. So now not only Western European, but French and Spanish. We think the common ancestor lived in the Caucasus about 9,500 years ago, Schultz told Reuters. I'll read that again. We think the common ancestor lived in the Caucasus. Y'all know what we're talking about, the Caucasus, right? That mountainous region called the Caucasus Mountains. We think the common ancestor lived in the Caucasus about 9,500 years ago, Schultz told Reuters. It is estimated that the earliest migration of haplogroup R1b1a2 into Europe began with the spread of agriculture in 7000 BC, according to IGENEA. And there's that word again that I told you that would definitely reoccur through the study of haplogroup genetics, mitochondria, and all of these things. Migration. That's why I told the brother that when we were talking about the Turkish DNA in the pharaohs, don't come and run to Turkey in the 1800 BC time period and look for black people and pull their genetics, because those black people in the ruling class in Turkey in 1800 BC will not have that other M1a1 Turkish haplogroup markers. They won't. And I showed him that you trying to bend history is only showing you to be a pseudo scholar. You can't bend DNA and mitochondria. You can't. It tells and yields very specific things about your ancestry. That's the truth. So that brother needs to go back and restudy how not to, try to manipulate people with pseudoism. Because we're beyond that. This is 2019. This is not 1940. Okay? Study migration. When you're studying haplogroups, you cannot study it with to any effective degree without studying migrational patterns. Because you don't know what you're dealing with. If you're just finding thousands of people's random DNA, you don't understand how those DNA samples mix with one another. How this one became this and that. That's the truth. So the brother, he made a mistake, and a classic mistake of all pseudo scholars doing that. Let's finish reading the article. The article says, however, the geneticists were not sure how Tutankhamun's patrilineal lineage came to Egypt from its region of origin. Again, even the people from Reuters are telling you the same thing that I said you must study. How did this haplogroup get here from its place of origin? There are many, many, many factors that would cause that. Geological events, events in nature, events in agriculture, events in government and social settings, and even war and conquest. All of these things have to be studied to understand how Turkish genetics and ancestry became Egyptian genetics and ancestry. The article says the center is now using DNA testing to search for the closest living relatives. Excuse me. Woo! Sounding like Izzy over here. The closest living relatives of King Tut. Now, with that said, I want to ask you a question. Raise your hand if you've heard any of our modern day Kemet pseudo scholars even raise this question and bring it up and bring it out to our people. Come on, raise your hand if you're sure. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all done heard Jabari, or you done heard Professor Smalls, or you done heard, who else? Shit, you done heard Polite. Any of these guys come to you and tell you that King Tut and Western Europeans and even Frenchmen share the same haplogroup? How many of y'all? Come on, fam. Give me a 1 if you done heard it. I bet you haven't. And you won't hear it from anybody that is enamored with Kemet. They ultra black eyes in Kemet because they done spent thousands of dollars in gold and silver trinkets that have no power and mean nothing. So nobody's gonna mention this stuff to you, but I will. I will. One more time, let's say it again before we bring up another issue. King Tut's DNA is shared by over 50% of European men. I know. This is why the Discovery Channel stirred up so much. I mean, just, oh my God. But now let me pull this other thing up. Let me grab this. I think the Discovery Channel was even saying Nefertiti was white. I think the Discovery Channel was even saying Nefertiti was white, European. And people thinking that these folk just making this stuff up or they just being racist. But no, 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 no. No, no, no. Now let's talk about something else here. Who was the father of King Tut? Can anybody tell me? Who was King Tut's father? Come on, somebody. This one should be an easy one because this is one of the more notable pharaohs in Egypt that, again, nobody ever want to talk about in Kemet. Nobody ever wants to talk about in Kemet. Who was the father of Tutankhamun? Come on, y'all. Goddamn. Y'all got Google or something. You could go and Google it. Come on, family. Nobody's going to say anything. That's all right. I know. Most people don't know because these Negroes won't tell you. Big booty. Family said Tutankhamun. His name would be pronounced Tutankhamun or Tutankhamun. You can say that. Akhenaten. That's it. Akhenaten. Thank you, Petey Petey. Now, what I want to bring out about Akhenaten is not his genetics. Well, let me not say his genetics because when we talked about this before, we talked about phenotype. Phenotype, what you look like, what your structure is, them big old lips and them big old noses and wide hips and, your long legs versus your short upper body. Phenotype is important. Now, I want to say to you, there's something wrong with every veneration of Akhenaten. Phenotype. Akhenaten is supposed to be a man. But y'all tell me, what is the most striking feature? Look at that. Look at that. Akhenaten, Troll Killer says, had baby-making hips. Huh? I want y'all to pull it up right now because many of y'all haven't looked at this stuff. Akhenaten had hips like, who got hips like that? Akhenaten got hips like Queen of Four. Jackie. And that's not disrespect for the Queen of Four. Queen of Four is an elderly sister that has a beautiful body. I was looking at Queen of Four on Brother Polite's video when they were so shamefully burying, I ain't gonna say it. But they were burying certain cellular matter in a public park, which is disrespectful to humanity, much less the mother. But I was looking at Queen of Four dancing all around, and she was dancing. I said, look at Queen of Four, looking good, sister. Looking like Akhenaten out this motherfucker. Excuse my language. Yo, Troll Killer. The beautiful sister, elderly sister, Queen of Four, with the wonderful hips, has the same baby-making hips that Akhenaten had. Now, let me ask you. Let me ask you at this point. Now, we're talking about, Turkish and European DNA, and we're talking about all these things that nobody don't tell y'all. Look at that. Troll Killer says Egyptian men usually depicted with broad chests and a small waist. That's facts. I'm going to take my time and read Troll Killer's comment one more time. Because it's so true. Troll Killer said, Egyptian men usually, and that word usually he means historically, are depicted on wall art of all kind, usually with a broad chest and small waist. But Akhenaten, baby making hips, and not only baby making hips, this brother got a baby pooch. You know the little pooch that women have around the navel, the little plumpy area. Akhenaten's venerations actually even have that. Now let me tell you another fun fact about Akhenaten. Not only was he like almost phenotypically and structurally almost like the first Bruce Jenner, this man was actually the first to try and institute what all of these Kemites say is just the worst thing spiritually and religiously that could have ever happened to Africa. Monotheism. Monotheism. Akhenaten. Baby making hips, Akhenaten. With the nice little pooch in the front of his navel and stomach area, was a monotheist and brought that into Kemet and tried to make it a mainstay. But Kemet, as foolish and sexually deviant as they were, they still are. They still are. Now again, phenotype is important. I want to ask you, are there any depictions that mirror Akhenaten's hips and baby making hips and tummy area with King Tut? King Tut shares genetics from up to 50% and over of Western European men. Now, phenotypically speaking, black men and black women, we talked about this before, have long legs and shorter upper body. Europeans normally have the exact opposite ratio, short legs and long upper body. That's why they're so clumsy and so slow and don't run as fast normally as you. But phenotype is very important. So, is there any correlation between the phenotype of y'all have mercy on me, forgive me. But is there any correlation between Tut and Akhenaten? I'm not even going to tell you. I'm going to ask you to answer me. And come on, somebody. Are there any venerations of King Tut hips? Anybody? And I'm looking at Akhenaten, and Akhenaten looks awfully related to Barack Obama in the face. I don't know what's up with this, but it just looked like got that Obama-ish look in the face. And they got his lips all nice and puffy and all this. Akhenaten got lips that look like he just came from the Botox place, man. I'm just saying. Now, the reason I'm saying phenotype is important. Now, listen. We already know that there is no correlation between the gods of Kemet and the actual people of Kemet, which were not this mixed bag of nuts of the ruling class, but a more continuity, continuity in the people of ancient Kemet, the poor people, more genetic continuity. But we know again that the pharaohs didn't identify with the common people in their genetics. Nope. Definitely the genetics and ancestry didn't mix, didn't yield the same thing. And we definitely know that the ruling class of Kemet didn't identify with the common people, but more so identified with the gods of ancient Kemet. As a matter of fact, these men and women called themselves gods. Mm-hmm. So what is the point that I'm bringing up? We have Akhenaten with childbearing hips, and we have male deities in Kemet with venerated with one female breast. I'm saying it one more time because I know this may be getting a little bit, crazy for some of y'all. You're like, wait a minute, man, we were talking about DNA. Now we're talking about gods. But it all relates. It all relates. I've even heard some of these people call these gods their ancestors. And even call these pharaohs and whatnot their ancestors. But look it up. Akhenaten, his venerations of his hourglass hips matches the freakery in the deities, in the male deity venerations in ancient Kemet. Look it up. Hapi, one female titty. Mm-hmm. Atum Ray. Atum, well, not Atum Ray, but Atum, one female titty. And you can just keep going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Many of the deities in ancient Kemet were just as mixed up in their venerations as Akhenaten. Now, at this point, it seems that we've gotten a little bit crazy with what we're suggesting, but this is the nature of ancient Kemet. It's said to be ultra black. But when we go into the genetics of ancient Kemet, we find that the people of ancient Kemet have the more, connected genetics, connected to each other. We go into the ruling class, we find everybody's DNA. Europe, France, Turkey, Anatolia, Greece, everywhere. But then we go up another level and we go into the gods of ancient Kemet, and now we not only find crazy another mixed bag theology, but we find mixed sexuality in the phenotype of these fake cartoons. One titty. Can someone tell me why the male deities of Kemet had one breast? I'm saying all of this because it's a setup. It's a setup. Now, a setup for what? You'll find out in the next part. But let's rewind for one moment. Go all the way back to the first part of the lesson. First part of the lesson, we talked about genetics that should not be, especially become native to North Africa. We read from the Reuters article that the people of North Africa still have these same mixed bag of nuts types of genetics. Turkish, French, European, Greece, Roman, all of that. Let me ask, at the end of this particular lesson, How many of you guys in here are Kemet folk? Come on, be honest. I know none of you niggas are gonna. Oh, let me see. Somebody put artist rendering of King Tut. Let me see. Before we go into that, let me see. Artist's rendering of King Tut. Let me see. Hold on, family. Let me look at this. Oh, Lord. I gotta show y'all this. Hold up. Hold up. Y'all, Should I show this man? Cause I don't feel right showing this one. Hold up. Wait a minute, I gotta show it. Fuck it. Look at this, y'all. Do y'all see that, family? Look at the twerking hips on Tut. Look at that. Lord. Wait a minute. Now this brother here, y'all. Wait a friggin' minute, y'all. Look, he even got his left leg cocked over like he got on high heels. What is this? What is this? Is that a man or is that some kind of space alien, family? Lord have mercy. And Petey say they said he had a club foot. Look at that foot. But look at them hips, y'all. Lord have mercy. Let's compare. Hold up. Because we got to do a comparison. Let me look at Akhenaten's hips. Family them told me to look at this and look this up, and I. Y'all, this is amazing, man. Hold up. Let's look at Akhenaten's childbearing hips. Where's the picture? Here it is right here. Let's look at Akhenaten's hips. Look at there. Look at there. Look at there. Go on, girl. Go on, girl. Akhenaten's hips. And look at that tummy pooch, y'all. Did Akhenaten have a C-section or something more? Was Akhenaten really a woman? Oh my God, y'all! I don't wanna. Hold up. Let's go back one more time. King Tut. Let's look at him. Artist rendering of King Tut, and this is like a digital you know. Oh man, look at this dude. Y'all, look at this brother's hips. And why is there such a difference between the brother's lower body and the upper body? Lord have mercy. Phenotype is important. Nah, man, goddamn. Lord have mercy, family. Petey, you see what you done did? How many black men y'all know like that, family? Is Jabari shaped like that, fam? Is Jabari shaped like is Jabari shaped like that? Lord, y'all got some explaining to do over here in Kemet, man. White ancestry, European, French, Turkish. and hermaphrodite, or whatever these brothers are. Now, what do you have in common with this, family? I mean, come on. What do you have in common with M1b1a, R1a2? What is the name of that genetic group? What the hell do you have in common with this? What do y'all have in common with R1b1a2, family? What do y'all have in common with a man whose hips are, I mean, my God, got Beyonce hips, and his and his seeds. Lord have mercy, everybody. Who was King Tut's father? A woman. Hips don't lie, Petey Petey said. So what was Akhenaten? Was Akhenaten really a woman? Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Or was Akhenaten a hermaphrodite? Or was Akhenaten just whatever Jabari is? Jabari said on the video the other day, and there are many in the community that say Brother Jabari's gay. I find it amusing, though. I wonder why you find that funny. There's somebody calling you gay. My goodness. Haplotype, haplogroup, DNA, RNA, mitochondrial. All is important, family. Why did you jump headlong into this culture of Egypt when Egypt is an ancient version of America? Just think about it. If we take one of the known projections of this culture, like the Washington Monument, or the actual statue of Lincoln, put that on a necklace, put that on a medallion, 1,000 years from now, and somebody rocking the American culture as a black man in 1,000 years, saying that just because Barack Obama was black, and Dick Gregory was black, and Shirley Chisholm was black, and they were all involved in the politics and the social matters of this government and this political structure. Imagine a brother in 1,000 years wearing Lincoln sitting at the monument there on your medallion and saying, oh, that's my culture. Because all of those black poor slaves that were in Egypt, and they had a few mixed raced, and a few non-successful black folk that participated in the social matters of the government of the time. This is the same parallel that you have today when you see brothers walking around with the Ma'at bird on their chest. Hey, peace to you, Storm. The Ma'at bird on your chest does not symbolize Africa, does not symbolize your genetics that are not Turkish. Huh? It is a mixed bag of nuts. That is what Egypt is. That is what the genetics of the ruling class of Egypt is and was, and that is still even what it is to this very day. Let's read the quote again. More than 50% of all men in Western Europe belong to this R1b1a2 haplogroup. And mind you, King Tut did, with the nice hips and the club foot. Now, as I said before, this series, we didn't want to make this stream 2 hours long. I wanted to make this opening one kind of entertaining and point out a lot of these things that we're going to tie in. Even the migration stuff, like I talked to the brother about. And I think the next stream we're going to only talk about migration because that's so important to what we're building here that it can't be left out and it can't be added too late in the series. Philip Jacobs says, to the victor goes the myths and the monuments. Eustace Mullins. Wow. Wow. To the victor goes the myths and the monuments. Whoever wins the wars gets to tell the stories. But you know what's crazy? Myths, monuments, and the stories. The DNA. That goddamn DNA, family. See, we can disprove a myth. We could break a monument. But that goddamn DNA. Western Europe? I even found them. I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna say this, and then and I don't want to ruin it, but I'm gonna say this. We even found modern Israeli DNA in Akhenaten's genetics. I don't want to say too much about that, but modern Israeli. We didn't say ancient Israelite. We didn't say ancient Hebrew Israelites. We said modern Israeli genetics in not only Akhenaten, but several of the other pharaohs. What do I mean by modern Israeli genetics? I mean Austrian, I mean Polish, I mean Hungarian, I mean Russian, I mean Spain. Say it one more time. Austrian, Russian, Hungarian, Polish, German, Spain. All of those genetics are what we talk about when we talk about modern Israelis. And I said, Akhenaten shares markers that are congruent with those particular nationalities that are being called today Israeli. Somebody give me a doggy bag so I can goddamn throw up. The tartar. Yo, man. Now, as I close this, I'm going to tell y'all something that you're not going to see. You ain't going to see it all as relates to, this lesson. You are not going to see any one of these Kemet scholars try to approach it to debunk it. You're not going to see one. Not even one. And if we see one, please direct them to this channel so that I can deal with them, especially on these next parts, because you're going to want to hear this. You're going to want to hear this. And you're going to learn not only that Western European DNA and Turkish DNA and French DNA and Polish and Austrian and Hungarian and Russian, and you're going to learn not only that, but you're going to learn why our poor people, historically, this keeps happening, because Egypt isn't the only one. Y'all, I'm telling too much. I got to stop. Egypt ain't the only culture that happened like this, family. It sure ain't. Somebody say, hey to the Moors. Y'all will find it out. Y'all will figure it out. You'll hear it. Now, we got two more parts to this particular one. Now, I'm going to tell you, I know ain't nobody gonna address this stuff. They're gonna act like they didn't see it. Just like they act like they didn't see the breast on Hoppy. Hoppy's got a breast. Atum's got a breast. They act like they didn't see this. But you're not going to be able to actually ignore the second part, because migration is actually more stark and it shows actually more truth than the actual DNA. That's why both of these studies have to happen simultaneously. Migration. Now, I want to show that picture. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna show that picture no more times until we go into the next. Man, all these pictures I got in my files, and I didn't have that picture of King Tut with the big old Beyonce booty. I mean, this nigga King Tut was cut, man. Yo, wait, here, look. The Akhenaten gene, all right? The Akhenaten gene, like many others in the Armana Mummy series, is African in origin with an important Egyptian and Arab distribution. It also appears in many so-called Jews, Native Americans, and here's a word for you guys, a new word, Melungians. Y'all ever heard that word, Melungian? Have y'all ever have y'all ever heard of the word Melungian, family? Y'all wait till the next part. These niggas gonna commit suicide. I want y'all to go throw away all them worthless trinkets, man, because this is not your culture. But what is a Melungian? Y'all, come on, somebody give me a Melungian. A Melungian is a person, today we would call them mulatto. Right? A person with more than 2 or 3 ancestry points that we can synchronize that, hey, this one come from here, this one come from there, and this one come from way over there. A mixed breed, a mulatto, Melungian. We're going to study that word and what it produces on the next stream, but the Akhenaten gene, family. Goddamn, Akhenaten was everybody. Literally and figuratively and genetically. We'll talk about it. So I hope y'all enjoyed this stream, this opening to the opening to this actual series, man. And you're gonna learn a lot, and it's gonna yield a lot of questions, and that's what I want it to do. Yield so many questions that you will be inspired to go and do deep research on all of this, so that we can stop selling our people Egypt as if it's Nigeria, or if it's Ghana, or if it's the Congo. We got to stop that. Brother Obadiah says, great lesson, bro. Thank you, family. And please find Izzy. And please find Izzy. And thank you, Brother Obadiah. I appreciate that, fam. What time is it? I'm not getting notification. What time? I tell you what, we'll do it tomorrow afternoon. How about that? Tomorrow afternoon, maybe like 3 or 5. I'll set up the schedule today, so you'll be able to see it as soon as this one go off. I'll have it up maybe in about 15 minutes. Yeah. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all coming through and listen to all this stuff that other people just refuse to hear, because when you hear it, now you're accountable and you have a responsibility to not keep on propagating foolishness, but you have a responsibility to look into what you think you believe. Mm-hmm. What do you think you believe? Let me see. Did Izzy respond? It said, I commented on Izzy's last video. Hope you see it and respond. Oh, he didn't respond. I commented too. I tried to comment from one of the channels that I know he didn't block. I got no response either, family. I think it's something really serious going on with Izzy that has to do with either that jail or either some, I don't even want to say it. I hope it's just a money issue and he can't get on the internet right now. But it could be a number of other things that are way, way more terrible than having your Wi-Fi cut off. So, Lord have mercy. Y'all let me know as this thing progresses. Where in the world is Izzy San Diego? Find Izzy, y'all. What happened to that boy? We don't hate Israel. Shit. We fight Izzy because Izzy's crazy as hell. But we don't hate Izzy. Shit. We don't want nothing bad, too bad be happening to Izzy that he can't come back from. So y'all keep Izzy in your prayers, man. And if you find him, give Israel a couple dollars, man. Shit, send him a couple dollars. It ain't gonna hurt nobody to send him $5 or $10. All of us, man. I remember one time I sent Israel 3 cents in a PayPal just to mess with him. But if Israel's all right, man, I'm gonna actually send him something in his PayPal, something that would help. And I want y'all to do the same thing, man. None of our brothers should have to struggle like that, man. I mess with him a lot, but none of our brothers should have to struggle like that. Whether they wicked and foolish and ignorant and stupid or not. This is America. You shouldn't have to struggle to that degree. And look at Sinetta. Sinetta got Alzheimer's and he's senile. And people give this brother just donations on top of donations. Sinetta wants y'all to become homosexuals and become extinct. And people just overflow him with donations. Come on, man. Let's help our brother Izzy. When we find out Izzy's alive, I'm going to be the first one to donate to him. We find out Izzy ain't in jail, I'm going to be the first one to donate to him. Send Izzy a few nickels, man. Because just like, you know, our old crackhead uncle at the family reunion, that's still your uncle. Still your uncle. So y'all pray for Izzy, man. And pray for King Tut. Lord have mercy. Peace, y'all.